Are you the dog barking across the street?
No. No. I do hear that dog, but no, that's not what I am.
Are you
No.
a dog that has given up on... Oh, that's just sad. I was going to say his owner coming back.
Oh, wow, that is sad.
What are you?
Jesus.
Make it happier.
I am the whooping owl, the state owl of Missouri, where our guest is from.
I like it. Good intro.
Yeah.
Yes, our guest this week is the wonderful Kenny DeForest.
There it
But
is.
we should probably introduce ourselves. I'm Caitlin Cook.
That is Caitlin Cook.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's Sean Patton.
And I am Sean Patton.
And you're listening to 5 Words, the podcast where we have on a comedian. They tell us a story, but before they do that, they tell us 5 keywords from the story. We tell them what we think the story is based on those 5 words and what we know about them. And then they tell us the real story.
Nailed it.
We're getting more succinct with that intro. We are, I promise.
It.
Anyways, our guest this week is the wonderful...
That's you nailing it.
Yeah? That's your sound for a nail?
It's your sound for a nail. That's you nailing it.
Mine would be whack.
Okay, there you go.
It's a thwack sound.
A thwack sound.
A thwack. Okay. So our guest this week is Kenny DeForest.
Yeah, Kenny.
I first met Kenny in Chicago right before I met Sean.
Yeah. I first met Kenny at the White Guys with Beards convention somewhere in 2013 in Chicago. Actually, when I met Kenny, no beard. Same here.
When I met you, no beard, too.
There you go. Kenny and I actually, and I forgot to mention this, we once had an amazing day where we drove around in Chicago in his car and ended up watching a man drunkenly chase his family out of the house. And but that's one of many stories.
Make it happy.
But Kenny's story is very happy.
That's true.
Very crazy, good, fun time story.
Yeah.
That hits close to home for me and for you as well. Mm-hmm. He's a wonderful dude. I'm glad we finally got him on the show.
Me too.
Yeah.
He lives in LA now. He's trying to be more bi-coastal, but the separation is hard for us to be away from Kenny.
And you will be seeing him on this first season of the unnamed Netflix stand-up comedy show.
That is
which I'm
true.
sure is named, but it's filming now, and I don't know when it will air. But look out for Kenny on that because he's on it.
Yeah, and also look up his Seth Meyers set because it's hilarious. And just look him up in general. I'm currently rebuilding his website kind of as we speak.
Yeah.
And it'll be at kennydeforest.com.
There it is.
So check him out and come check us out. Sean, where are you going to be this week?
This week I am at the... Wait, which week is it?
This upcoming week is...
Oh, I will be in San Diego.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to be in Palm Springs at the Ace Hotel on Wednesday, the 11th of this month, which is March.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be in San Diego at the wonderful American Comedy Company. I haven't been there in a few years. I haven't been to San Diego in a while. I'm very excited to go back because I fucking loved my experience in San Diego last time, so I'm very happy to go back.
Hell yes.
And I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, San Diego people, when you come out to the show by the masses, which you should, 12th through the 14th of March, I'll be there, that San Diego is like the most underrated city in California. I enjoyed my time there. I feel like everybody's all about L.A. and all about the Bay, but no one really talks about San Diego.
No, San Diego is really cool. I just think there are more cool, underrated cities and towns in
Why are
California.
you fucking up my praise for the city I'm about to be in?
Because they don't need any more, like...
San Diego, I disagree with Caitlin.
Okay. Well, as a native Californian, I would say San Diego knows it's cool as shit. It's not underrated. It's amazing. They don't want more people moving there because it's a beautiful, sunshine little city full of amazing surfers and bars and a pretty fucking cool zoo. So.
Oh, yeah, and they have the Comic-Con.
Yes. So people know about it, and they don't want more people coming there, so I'm trying not to overhype it.
But the Chargers left.
All right.
So they don't have, you know what I mean? They need
Yeah.
more. Anyway, I'm excited to be back. It's been a while. I'm looking forward to doing all the San Diego things. And the show, 12th to the 14th, American Comedy Company.
Hell yeah.
Caitlin.
Yes.
I already know the answer to this. In fact, I can tell them where you're going to be if you want me to.
Well,
or would
can
you rather
wait?
in your
'Cause
words?
I'll tell them my more recent gigs.
Okay, do it.
So this week, I'm actually going to be in Athens, Georgia, all week working on this new rendition of Death Wish that I've rewritten for the show that Sean will tell you about right after this.
Oh, yeah?
But basically, I've retinkered my show from Edinburgh. I'm just really proud of this rewrite, so I'm going to be performing that and getting sort of that new version in my system. And then also I'm working on a fucking brand new show for Edinburgh this year, and I'll be workshopping it for the first time in Athens this weekend at the Moonlight Theater Company. So I don't know what it's going to be. Come check it out.
I don't know what it's going to be.
I don't know what's going to be, but it will be fun. And then the big show that, of course, I'm always advertising is...
April 23rd, Feinstein's 54 Below. Mm-hmm. Go see Caitlin do Death Wish with a band.
Yeah, full band,
Yeah.
big Broadway people, big Broadway show. It's going to be real fun. Get your tickets.
Do it. And now, Kenneth John DeForest.
I don't know what his middle name is. Okay, bye.
But
Are you a very melodic swarm of bees?
yes, I wasn't sure what I was.
I wasn't either.
I took a risk there. I was like, I'm going to be, in my head, I was like, I'm a bird, or am I?
I always assume when it's a southerner, it's a whippoorwill.
Oh.
I'm not even entirely sure what a whippoorwill is, but it's like...
Feels
it's
like something an old man says on the porch in the South.
Yeah, and from a faux southerner to a southerner, I wouldn't call you a faux southerner.
No, I'm a faux southerner.
Well,
Missouri is weird, man.
Missouri's because it's the Midwest and the South at the same time.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I did a joke about this, but it is like it was neutral in the Civil War, and weirdly, that is still very much the culture of Missouri. It's like it's more an absence of culture than it is a culture of its own.
Interesting.
It's also a very, cashew nut chicken invented.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In the state of Missouri.
Whoa! In my hometown, in Springfield.
In Springfield, Missouri.
That's where I'm
we
from.
had it.
Yeah.
We had it. We had it at 3 different places when I was in Missouri.
Yeah.
Did you do Blue Room?
Did the Blue Room.
Yeah, the Blue Room. Great comedy club in Missouri and Springfield. Also home of Branson, home of Yakov Smirnoff. So they were neutral in the Civil War and now in the cyber war.
Yeah.
Against Russia because they clearly took on that fuck heaven.
Think about it.
No.
We have Yakov Smirnoff and Dolly Parton in Branson.
Where's Dolly? In Branson?
She's got the Dixie Stampede. I think that she can't call it this Dixie Stampede anymore because Dixie, but it's...
Is Dixie just now synonymous with like racism kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like Dixie, Confederate flag, all that.
Yeah, I guess whistling Dixie
Yeah.
is, I do when I think, you see, my problem is I always think Dixie beer, which is a shitty but gorgeously disgusting. Gorgeously disgusting is a great way to. It's the Malort of New Orleans.
Okay.
Chicago fellow Chicago.
There we go. Nice.
Former
Yeah,
Chicago
yeah,
residents,
yeah.
except in the form of beer.
Anytime someone says Dixie,
Yeah.
I just think way down south in Dixieland. And
So there
then
you go.
Yeah.
That just plays in my head.
By the way, that's our wonderful guest, which you would have already heard if you listened to the intro. The
Yes.
one and only Dr. Kenny DeForest.
Doctor.
Oh, yes. Thank you for acknowledging my title.
I like to tell each comedian what kind of doctor they'd be if their comedic style was a doctor style, a medical style. And Kenny, you would definitely be an orthopedic surgeon
Oh, my God.
because you like to get to the fucking bone.
Damn,
To the you get to
dude.
the structure, to the bone. That's what you like to work on.
Yeah.
You know. Now this is the first time I've ever done this, and now I'm only going to do this.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're adding it to the podcast.
Wait, throw me a pen. I got to write it down. Anyway, but Kenny, here's something. This is something I think, and I've got to confess this to you. I have thought this about you for like 2 years, and I've never brought it up because do you smoke weed?
Yeah.
When you do, have you ever said, like, to a couple of to your buds or whoever's around that you want to smoke weed with, like, hey guys, you guys want to go commit a little deforestation?
No, but I should.
Yeah. Why? Because you're going to go burn some trees.
Burn some trees,
Burn
dude.
some trees.
Clear a little land, dude.
It's this, I can't, like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen you when you've been high, and I'm like, I think Kenny just had, in my head, I'm like, I think he just had a little deforestation.
Just cleared the land, bro.
Yeah.
Man.
Burn the trees.
When I was a kid, we had personalized license plates that said Deforest, you know? And so many people like would yell at my mom, being like, "Oh, you like clearing the forest?" Like as if we were making a statement, like, "Cut them all down, bro."
just by having your last name.
Yeah, which is insane. Like,
That's so weird.
Like, no one is pro deforestation. Like, they might work in the logging industry
Yeah.
and they're lobbying to be allowed to continue to make money off trees, but no one's just like, cut them down, dude. I hate them. Get rid of them.
Wait, don't. And also, because the same thing with like paper companies. I've heard this, and I could be wrong, but aren't they also now, and for a while now, like federally, legally required to replant?
Yeah.
Like they have to like everything.
That's what my uncle did for a living. He would go through the forest. He would mark the trees that were ready to be cut down, and he would mark the ones like, hey, these are still saplings. And then after they would cut, he would go through and plot where the tree should be planted.
Damn, this is
You want to come up here?
that's the dark side of. So your uncle is like Johnny Appleseed,
Yeah.
but like the dark, like the Christopher Nolan version.
Yes.
Where he also has to choose which tree. he also has to choose which trees go.
The Christopher Nolan gritty reboot of Johnny Appleseed.
The raw.
I
It's like
would watch it.
It's like Sophie's Choice, but trees. You know, it's like which one do you want?
Please don't make me choose between the pine and the cypress. They would not be in the same.
Cipher.
If you're ever somewhere where there's a pine and a cypress tree next to one another, I believe you're in a glitch in the Matrix, or a theme park, or a very wealthy person's backyard.
Yeah, or like a Vegas lobby.
Yeah. I don't
Wait,
know,
why?
but
I don't know enough about
I feel like
trees.
I feel like a pine is a pine tree, obviously.
Yeah.
But a cypress is no, they could probably be in the same place.
Maybe in the south somewhere, because
Yeah.
Cyprus is like kind of I think of Italy or Greece when I think of Cyprus. Is that right? Am I thinking of the right tree?
Yeah. I mean, I was about to say a
Grace.
pine and an oak would never be in the same place, but that's definitely not true.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Slidell, Louisiana, the Staten Island, or I'm gonna say Yonkers, the Yonkers of New Orleans, and there were pine trees everywhere. And then half an hour south is New Orleans, which are our oak trees kicking it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Spanish moss.
Spanish moss. Do you have a favorite tree? Because I do have a favorite tree.
I would say the Missouri. Well, the one I love to see the most because of just its title literature and everything is like the weeping willow. I just think they're
yeah.
like when you see a weeping willow in the
Yeah.
South, you're just like, man, this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a weeping willow during the winter though? When it stops weeping,
Yeah,
and it's like you should start weeping again, tree. You look even sadder.
yeah,
You look sadder
think
when
I've
you're
ever
not
seen
weeping.
that.
yeah, like a Tim Burton tree.
It looks
Yeah.
creepy. It's just like you've never seen that? When a weeping willow gets over it,
Yeah.
a fucking when you
Weeping
see
willow has no
when you
tears
see
left
an
to cry.
empowered willow,
That's really funny.
it's sadder.
The weeping willow is like the folk singer of the tree world, where it's like
Yeah.
all its fans don't want it to like get happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the weeping willow is. I know it's healthier now, but it was so much better when it was weeping.
Yes. The weeping willow, the Julian Baker.
I
of-
really wish you would keep crying.
Yeah. Wait, what's your favorite tree?
Come on, Magnolia,
I knew that.
day in, day out.
Oh yeah, that's a very southern tree too.
Southern tree, but I've also seen you see a lot of magnolias in L.A., but also L.A. also imports everything. You got to remember that Los
Palm
Angeles,
trees are not
Yeah.
native to LA.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're everywhere.
And I'm told they have 100-year life expectancy.
Pine trees?
Palm trees.
Oh,
And
palm
evidently they were all planted around 100 years ago. So like, I don't know if this is actually going to happen, but there might just start being like massive palm tree die-offs in LA, which would really be depressing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everything in L.A., everything
I thought you were about to be like, everything in LA is depressing. We get it.
No, but it is imported. Everything in LA is imported. The trees, the people, the fucking sports teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LA only has one original sports team, to my knowledge, and
Yeah.
it's the Rams.
Right. Well,
That started in LA.
the Lakers were Minneapolis.
Lakers were Minneapolis, San Diego, Clippers were San
Clippers, San
Diego.
Diego.
I mean, the Raiders on again, off again.
Dodgers were Brooklyn.
Dodgers were Brooklyn.
Yeah.
The Chargers are
Dang,
Diego.
I never thought about
Wait,
that. That's
but
wild.
the Angels, I mean,
the Angels.
technically
I guess the
but
Anaheim
they-
Angels.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess the LA Kings, if we're counting hockey, but
But
like,
I'm pretty sure the Kings came from somewhere. And
Yeah.
I know we could fact check, but we all know the rule in this podcast. Fact checking is for nerds.
For
we
sure.
are dorks.
Yeah,
or
difference.
dweebs, you know?
yeah.
Dorks are just nerds without their facts straight. As Caitlin spilled coffee. As I was saying, that was captured on camera. As I was saying dork.
Didn't move.
just spilled coffee.
That's hilarious. She straight up just has water on her back. She's like, whatever, dude, I'm in a lap. We're talking about a dog, by the way.
We have the
Small.
five words pup who trusts Caitlin so much that she just spilled coffee and tea all over it. Coffee and tea drinking together. Yeah, no. You know what's really funny is that so Caitlin's from Los Angeles. When the Rams moved back and the Chargers moved up, which happened the same fucking
Which
year.
is insane, man.
They went from 0 football teams to 2.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, Caitlin, you know the Rams are back," and she's like, "I don't give a shit. I wasn't raised with the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't care about football." And I was like, "You also got the Chargers," and she was like, "What? What's that?" And I was like, "It's another football team." And she after a while she goes, What's their logo? Like a phone charger?" And it was like,
it should be.
that's pretty fucking funny because the name was the thing. But I remember like
it comes from what, like a bolt charger?
it's just a bolt, like a lightning, like a charge.
Oh, got it.
But I like that. My school I went to for like middle school was the St. Louis de Marillac, Araby, Louisiana, Chargers. And there were a lot of Chargers. It was like a common sports team name before everyone got a phone.
Yeah, and before like Chargers were the most important things in our lives.
Yeah.
Before everyone was constantly going, "Do you have a charger?" That would be hilarious if they had an alternate uniform that was just a phone charger.
That'd be so funny. Yeah,
They'd become my favorite team.
Yo, absolutely.
Fully support
Especially in LA.
I would start
Are you
caring about
serious?
football.
Oh God, yeah.
Every Instagram model would be like, I'm a Charger fan for sure.
Jesus. Yeah, there you go. LA Chargers. We're done with the lightning bolt shit.
Yeah.
Give us a fucking
We're LA.
I mean, it is kind of like if you do like the part that you clip into your phone. That's on the direct side of the helmet, and then there's a line that goes around to the other side.
That's where the cube is?
Yeah, with the cube. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the plug
Hell
into the wall.
yeah.
Come on.
Yes.
LA Chargers.
Get with it, man.
Develop a sense of humor. You go 16-0.
And while we're at it, LA Rams, just be the truck, man. You know?
Yeah.
The LA truck.
The Ram, like a Dodge Ram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
yeah, no one, there's no goats in LA, you know?
There aren't.
No.
Why were there ever? It's funny when you think of when teams name their mascot and you're like, where did that come from? Like, I know the New Orleans Saints.
That makes sense.
Founded on All Saints Day.
Oh.
But also, New Orleans does have a Gothic / very Catholic.
Yeah.
You know, and also today, happy Mardi Gras, Kenny, as our Mardi Gras Day guest.
Yes.
Yes, man. Honored.
Fat Tuesday.
Honored.
We- not-
I haven't been to New Orleans for Mardi Gras yet. I've been to New Orleans, but I haven't been for Mardi Gras yet. I got to do
never
that.
have either.
For Mardi Gras?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm very sad.
Oh, no, we got time. Wait, what was I going to ask you? Actually, just a side note, New Orleans Saints I love, but one of my favorite NFL any mascot ever, is the Baltimore Ravens. Mm-hmm. But do you know why?
No.
Because they are named after the Edgar Allan Poe work, The Raven.
Really?
Because he lived and died in Baltimore.
Whoa.
Oh, that's really cool.
So it's like the
No wonder he
Ravens.
was so dark.
Yeah, they were like the Ravens because it's a scary bird, but also Edgar Allan Poe.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like when there's a
The Raven.
meaning, like ties
I
it to the
love
city.
that shit. I
love
that.
All right, the Anaheim Angels. It's like the city of angels. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
You know, but the Rams, why?
Yeah, the Cleveland Indians. You know, that's probably where some Indians were killed.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My high school was
Yeah.
the Kickapoo Chiefs, and it's because we were on the Kickapoo Prairie of the Kickapoo people, and now a bunch of white kids are the Chiefs.
Yeah, dude.
No.
It's like Kansas City too. It's like all these. I mean, the Indians. Actually, the Cleveland Indians, of all of the Native American named sports franchises, I feel like the name itself isn't as offensive, but the logo is definitely like, whoa, you got a big smiling Indian.
Although, I don't know though, because
I guess Indians is the
at least
name.
like Braves is specific.
You're right.
Chiefs,
Yeah.
like imagine if it was
Yeah.
like the Detroit Black Guys. You'd be like, I don't know, that's not great.
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah.
not. No, you're right. I redact what I just said or recant it, but I'm not editing it out. I say this is called saying something, realizing you were wrong, and accepting it.
Look at that.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg.
Setting an example.
Well, because no, you're right. The Indians is what the white man gave the name they gave.
There's
to
also
the
that.
Native
Yeah,
Americans, which
exactly.
is
So that's wrong. It would
But-
be weird if they pivoted and were like, no, we're about the India now. And they were
Oh, that's
like,
funny. They're a cricket team all of a
But
sudden.
then like the Braves. So then if the Braves is definitely the least offensive. Then
Because at least it's like a specific.
You're a Brave.
You're a Brave.
Yeah. You're out there battling
Yeah.
other tribes,
Yeah.
other baseball tribes.
Because I was wondering, like, I was actually.
You don't have a tomahawk, but you have a bat.
Yeah.
You know, like-
Right. There's like some
Yeah.
some correlations there.
It's like respectful. Like there's no there's no goofy Atlanta Brave mascot. I don't know. Anyway, I'm
I
not
don't
a
think
baseball
so.
guy.
Yeah, it's usually just a B with a feather hanging down or whatever, right?
Or just the A.
Or just the A with the feather. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, like, it's particularly offensive because of the context, right, of how this country was founded, that we wiped out indigenous peoples and then named our shit. It's because, like, no one in Greece is mad, like, you're the Spartans. That's, you know?
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
I was wondering, like, if a team in Europe, for instance, was like the Chiefs or the Braves, would it be less offensive if it was like, we're the south of France
Yeah.
Chiefs,
Oh, yeah.
but we just admire the way they fought over there.
That could be. I mean, to my knowledge, football is the biggest sport in Europe, and
Say it again?
football, and they don't have mascots.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, no,
It's
they
all
don't.
like the Real Madrid and FC Barcelona.
They've
and
got colors.
that's-
and,
yeah.
and lots of merch, but no mascots.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
don't think.
ads on the jerseys.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of
Vodafone.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're walking billboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or should I say, running and slide tackling billboards.
And flopping billboards.
Wait, as a Springfield, Missouri kid, what was your team? Did you ever-
So interestingly enough, which sucks for me because the Chiefs just won the damn Super Bowl and I can't bandwagon. I wanted them to win for
Yeah.
my home state, but my parents are both from the suburbs of Chicago, and so I was raised diehard Bears, Cubs, Bulls. Like my basement as a child was just a shrine of Chicago sports.
Just-
Like I was born 2 months after
Yeah.
the Bears won the Super Bowl in '86.
Yeah.
And so like Walter Payton, Jim McMahon, Gale Sayers, like that was everything.
just
in my-
walking down into that basement, your blood pressure rose.
Yeah, right.
you-
I could just smell beef.
Yeah, you stayed down there too long. Kenny, get upstairs. You're going to get hypertension.
My mom still has the accent. She refused to lose it. She's been in
Really?
Missouri since the '70s, but she's still like basketball.
Yeah.
You know.
Wait, but Missouri is definitely like how do I say this without sounding like an asshole? But like a Chicago spillover state too, right?
Sure.
Because I feel like the Cubs and the St. Louis
Cardinals.
have like some sort of
They're a rivalry.
rivalry, right?
Yeah. Well, the Mississippi River, it used to flow up. You know this, right?
And they
It went
reversed
up,
it
and
for
then they
the-
reversed it because they wanted all the shit to flow down to St. Louis.
Oh Jesus!
So like all the trash from Chicago flows down to St. Louis. So there's just like a long history of
Yeah.
that sort of
and that's what the Gateway was built for, to welcome all the Chicago.
Yeah. all their feces.
That's
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, and it's funny because like they say Chicago, the reason like second city is because
Right.
Chicago was always the second city to
Right.
New York.
Right.
Well, then St. Louis has that same. So they would say Chicago has like a second city complex. Well, St. Louis has that with Chicago. And
So then,
Interesting.
St. Louis improv teams bind together and open one massive theater
third
called
city.
Third City,
Third City.
You know? Or Third Town, and just keep the shit outdo them at their own game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't. St. Louis is a city I definitely have not spent enough time in, and I want to because my best friend went to Wash U.
Oh yeah,
So I visited him a couple times.
he must be
That was
smart
fun.
as hell.
It depends. He's a savant.
He also listens to this podcast.
He also listens. And he also, but also like every time I've been was for something. Like I visited him, or I was up there doing the Funny Bone, or we were there doing Helium. All great clubs, but I've never just spent time really just hanging out in St. Louis.
Yeah, I always I never liked St. Louis, and then I just did a festival there in I think November it was, the Flyover Fest. It was phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
And it was in like the new little hot area, the Grove, and I was like, oh, see, this is cool. Because see, what happened to a lot of these cities is suburban sprawl, and I hate that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't. That's no fun to me.
Yeah.
I've lived in Chicago and New York. It's like
Yeah.
I like
you want-
centralized.
yeah.
I like walking around. I like being able to go to the area, park my car, and be on foot for the whole day.
Yes.
And but so a lot of those cities that had suburban sprawl are redeveloping downtown. Like they're actually actively making downtown cooler. There's now actually neighborhoods that are coming up. So now I'm like, all right, I can do this. I can
Yeah.
do this.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing too that like I wish it's such. There's no way to say it without sounding like a fucking dipshit though. But like I wish people could understand how much better your life is if you just walked everywhere.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
It does. It's done like I mean, I only really became. I mean, I've lived in New York for a fucking while, but like I only really started being like I'm walking more places about 5 years ago. But it's like it's changed shit for me. Like walking, like you feel it, you feel better. And like when I go home to New Orleans, or when I go to like these cities where everyone's like, nah, just drive, and it's like it's 2 miles. It will take you half an hour. And you will feel so much better. But then also, it's not their fault entirely because a lot of these cities are just not designed.
They're not.
For pedestrian traffic.
Right.
Like you don't. It sucks walking down the side of a highway. I've done it.
Yeah.
Or it sucks walking down like a major street. Like L.A., you can actually, I feel, walk around a lot more than people give it credit for. But you can't walk the city like you can here.
Yeah. I try to walk in
or
LA.
Chicago. Or
there's very few that you can really, because there's also safety issues if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, like there's certain cities where, like, if you don't know what you're doing, or you're like a woman by yourself.
Yeah.
I imagine it's got to be like,
That's
fuck
why
this.
I bike everywhere. It's my alternative to walking. I
Oh,
still
good.
get the experience of going through these neighborhoods, but I'm doing it faster. No one can catch me.
Yeah. You have your escape route.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, so much of it, not to turn the conversation into a weird spot, but like so much of that too is like leftover racism and fear.
Yeah.
Oh,
where people were
sure,
like
man,
suburban sprawl,
sure.
like, we got to get to the suburbs and lock
dude.
your doors.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we're hopefully reaching a more enlightened culture where it's like, oh yeah, a lot of that was just media narrative and we were made to feel afraid of everybody when really if we all just live downtown together, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like New York was honestly, it's weird to admit, but like really eye-opening of like, because like when you grow up in a place where it's mostly white,
Yeah.
no one directly tells you this, but there's this sort of idea like this is just the way it's got to be, man. We have our area, they have their area, and you're like, and you kind of like weirdly accept it without realizing it.
Yeah.
And then you move to a place like New York, and you're like, oh, they were wrong.
100%.
We can all live together, and it's better, and it's more exciting, and it's cooler. Like it's all better.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like, that was the thing about being as a kid in the burbs of New Orleans, Slidell. Half an hour south was New Orleans, but half an hour north was like Picayune, and you get up into like Mississippi. Depending on any hardcore geography nerds, I know I'm a little off here, but like half an hour northeast, you're in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And like as a kid, I was always way more terrified of fucking rednecks than I ever was of black people.
Yeah.
Because but my parents also, I was lucky the way I was raised in Southeast Louisiana. Like my parents instilled zero
Yeah, me too.
racism in me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they were very like, but like at the same time, because they're both from New Orleans. My parents are both from the Lower Ninth. Like the West Village of.
Oh, they're from Lower Ninth.
My parents are both from the Lower Ninth.
So we took a bike tour of the Lower Ninth. And it was it was really cool,
dude,
man.
It's crazy.
It was
man.
really,
yeah.
I loved it. It was really eye-opening, too. Like, one thing I thought was so interesting to learn about that area is, so there's a guy who's like, what's his name? He's like the Mardi Gras chief of the Lower Ninth. So he's like the guy that leads is it the chief or whatever?
I mean, he's pretty much that guy. I think that guy just has a title. Yeah.
Yeah, and so his house is a Mardi Gras museum. You should definitely go next time you're home. It's so cool.
I know the Mardi Gras Museum for sure.
Oh yeah, so that guy,
yeah.
he was telling us, and like this is the way he phrased it. He goes, they call us the po-po folk of the Lower Ninth, but he goes, home ownership down here is like, I think he said 90%. He's like, so yeah, a lot of us don't work proper jobs, but we own our house. So we go down to the bayou, we catch our dinner, and then we eat it in a big communal circle.
Oh yeah.
He goes, we don't feel poor.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, man, it was
What a great life.
Yeah, like there's different there's certain types of wealth that you cannot transfer via Venmo. I don't care how many emojis you put on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like I think ultimately that's the kind of wealth we should all be seeking, especially in this fucking climate.
Yeah.
And I mean specifically, outside right now it's cold
raining
and wet.
and gross, yeah.
Yeah, we should all be just looking for a warm hearth.
Yeah.
Wait, Kenny's got Kenny for our special Mardi Gras Day edition.
Oh yeah.
His story is a very specific one, he says. So, Kenny.
Can you tell us your 5 words?
Yeah. So I don't know if you were in the room, but I changed it.
Yeah. I
Okay,
heard,
cool.
I heard.
Yeah, I forgot it's Mardi Gras. So
Yeah.
the 5 words are mushrooms, busker,
Right.
Pier, Pier,
Right.
ghost, makeout.
Right.
So
You want to start? Or you want me to
I
start?
want to start.
Okay, good.
So Kenny, as we know,
Yeah.
has spent some time in New Orleans, as we talked about. And during one of these trips, you decide get out of the city just a little bit and go hunting for some magic mushrooms. So you and your friends decide you're going to look around, see if you can find them, because you want to have a really fun, trippy time in New Orleans.
Yeah, and as everyone knows, New Orleans itself, it's beautiful, cultural, mecca, but surrounded by tons and tons of cow shit. There's tons of places just you'll kick over and find, magic mushrooms. Growing up as a kid,
Obviously.
you're like, hey, let's, you get out the city, go, there's cows everywhere taking dumps in rural Louisiana. Everybody knows this. So you guys, unfortunately, get to an area where you don't have cell phone service. Common out there, Verizon, I don't actually, or AT&T or Sprint, all of them, they all suck in certain situations. That's why Boost Mobile, is the real one. Everyone knows that. Sponsored by Boost Mobile, 5 Words Podcast. So you guys are like, fuck, we got to pull over and ask for directions. And you pull over at this old gas station, and there's this busker, guy with a guitar, just playing songs. And you're like, wait, let's ask this dude.
So you ask him, and you're like, hey, man, we don't know where we are. We want to find some mushrooms, do you have any idea? And he's like, yeah, you got to go to this pier off the bayou. And also, hi, my name's Pier, and you got to go to this pier.
Tell him
And
Pierre sent you.
It's just...
It's very French area, as we
yes.
know.
Yeah.
It's like you go down this road, you turn left where there's like this one little shack, and then you turn right. And it's a little confusing, but you're like, okay, we got this. We're going to go to this pier.
Right.
And find these mushrooms.
And remember, just ask, when you get there, just tell him Pierre sent you.
Yeah.
So you guys get to this pier.
Pier's pier.
Yeah, this pier. And you get out, and it's, dark, and it's very picturesque, Like it was drawn by someone, so like someone drew it with a trumpet.
Oh.
Or just like put a bunch of paint in the trumpet and played a trumpet out of canvas, blam.
Like
there it
Flannery
is.
O'Connor sketched it in her pad.
Yeah.
Just beautiful, just like somebody painted it while drunk on a hand grenade. I'm just going specific Mardi Gras drinks. Here we go, deeper cut. Like someone drank one too many dirty in the mouths. I'll tell you all about that
I thought
later.
you were going to say Bucare.
No, that's easy. But and just painted whatever they saw in their fever dream. So it's all, the moss is hanging. You're hearing the wildlife in the swamp. You're not seeing anyone, and you're like, so where's this person we're supposed to tell Pierre sent us? And then suddenly appears what is basically an apparition, a ghost. It says, Pierre sent who?
And you say, Pierre sent us. We're looking for some mushrooms, and you're a fucking ghost, dude. Like, freaking out. And that's when you realize that you already ate the fucking mushrooms. What?
Whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what Pierre, the ghost, Pierre, he's like, there's nobody named Pierre. I ain't no ghost. And look down. And you did, and y'all were still in the hotel room.
Yep.
And you're like, you been here the whole time, boys. Remember, the journey starts here. He points simultaneously at all three of your hearts. And you're like, what's your name? And before he disappears forever, he goes, Karma.
That's not the last word.
Oh, wait, what is that? Oh, sorry. We can edit that part out. And then, that was the old one. He says, you've been in this room the whole time. Remember, boys, open up your minds. And then he disappears, and you and your two buds look at one another and go, you know what, guys? Let's give it a go. And the three of you have a sloppy mushroom, a hallucinogenic mushroom-soaked makeout sesh. And afterwards, you all felt fine about it.
Yeah.
Didn't feel weird, but also didn't feel like you wanted to do it anymore. You were like, yeah, that was great. We all just bonded as people. Laissez les bon temps rouler.
And then you went out into the city, just having had a great New Orleans experience from a hotel room.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story.
I mean, you nailed it.
Yes.
I have nothing to add.
Yeah. That was the time
That was a trip.
you guys went to go get mushrooms.
I actually felt things as you were telling me. Like, I got really excited.
I could picture the scene that Sean was painting with the moss.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Also, like, do people from New Orleans get tired of people not from there expressing their love for the city, or is that just expected? because I'm telling you that place.
My
is,
cough was a reaction. That was how we say no in Cajun.
I'm gonna
No.
edit all of these out.
No.
It's gonna suck, but I
What
will
is?
do it.
All coughs?
Editing
Yeah.
out all your coughs.
Sorry, no New Orleanian ever gets tired of that.
Oh man, it is truly like any story about it. I just get so. Can I just tell you a quick one? That's not the one. Just a quick side one
Yeah.
from last
Yeah,
time I
sure.
was there. It was really funny. So I stayed in Treme, on the
Yeah.
Airbnb, and I'm walking down to the quarter, and it's like 10 in the morning, and there's a little jazz band playing it, and I stopped, and I thought, I was like, that's what's so beautiful about this city, man. It's like Tuesday morning at 10, and there's just already a jazz
Oh,
quartet,
yeah.
and there's all these people gathered around. I was like, God, man, I love this so much. And then I see like one of the guys playing the trumpet stops and takes a big swig of whiskey, and I'm like, get it, dude, yeah. So I go down the street. There was like a little museum. I wanted to see what it was and what their hours were, and I was like, I'm gonna go back and watch the rest of this set, and then I'll go to this museum. So I go down the street, check that, ask the guy the questions, blah blah blah. He goes, cool. I come back. It's probably been like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it is just completely turned. Now this guy is drunk.
Yeah.
And there's a woman singing, and they're both black, which is important to the story for here just a second. So the guy said something like, he called her a slut, and she yells. So there's all these people gathered around. It's like now 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right.
She yells, why you called it, and I'm talking like belts this. Why you calling me a slut? You're the one that wants to get fucked in the ass with a dildo, you F-word ass N-word. And people just started ushering their children away. And I was like, and that's New Orleans. That's like the full circle of New Orleans in 30 minutes. You saw it all.
At 10 in the morning.
Yeah, at 10 in the morning.
And then later you tell it, like that day you're like, you telling someone the story, and they go, and they're like, oh yeah, that's a song by the Ramblers. Those are lyrics to the song.
Yeah, that's the song. Yeah.
They do a like a
little scene
instrument
in the
break,
middle of the song.
and then a little scene.
Yeah, do a little scene. Right, yeah, it's an act out.
If you just stay, they go right back into the song. It's great.
And they're just trying to create awareness for men that enjoy pegging, you know?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
it's okay
Yeah.
to take it up the butt.
Yeah, man.
You effing ass N-words. And they're also trying to spread. They're also trying to say, hey guys, we're all effing ass N-words.
Yeah,
All of us.
yeah, all
We're-
together.
We're all in this together. All of us. All colors. All genders. Trying to say something beautiful and a belch happens. That is another great analogy for New Orleans. When you're trying to tell someone how much you love them and you burp in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what that city's
That's
like.
true.
A
Wait, so-
belch mid soliloquy.
What is the real story?
Oh, the real story. So, my now fiance and I fell in love in New Orleans. So that's one reason that city is so special to me.
Cool.
So this is from that trip.
Great.
So we met in Atlanta. Well, we met here, like met.
Yeah.
Like, hi, shook hands, talked maybe one time at a party, at our friend Mateo's birthday party.
Dr. Mateo Lane.
Dr. Mateo Lane.
Another doctor.
Cardiac.
Cardiac surgeon, definitely.
Yeah, because he tugs at your heart.
Yeah.
He makes your heart healthy.
Yeah.
So I did a show with her in Atlanta. We spent that weekend together, and then she had another week off before work started, and we were flirt texting, and she's like, "You need to come back to New York so we can hang out." And I was like, "Well, I'm still on tour, so why don't you come to me?" She was like, "Where are you going to be next?" I was like, "New Orleans. I've never been before." She goes, "You know what? I can do that." So
Whoa.
So I was going to be staying with your friend and mine, Andrew Polk.
Yeah.
On a futon.
Yeah.
But then she was like, because at the time she had a good job, she was like, she got a hotel in the French Quarter. And I was like, wow, my life just improved.
Yeah.
I just went from a futon in the suburbs to
Yep.
the heart of the quarter. We're staying in the Omni Royal. Like, come
Wow.
on.
Yeah.
A big time come up.
Yeah.
Not staying with Dr. Andrew Polk.
Yeah.
And
Which,
with
hey,
the
that part
anesthesiologist.
sucked. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Andrew Polk's a fun time.
Yeah.
So anyway, in Atlanta, I guess I shouldn't say his name. the guy who runs Star Bar and talk like this.
Oh yeah, we know.
Yeah.
we know. We're not legally not allowed to say his name on
Yeah, he can't.
without clearance from him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's how That's how.
Well,
it
let's
goes.
just say he's the kind of doctor who he's like the doctor who gave the Joker plastic surgery after he fell in the vat of acid.
Whoa.
That's the kind of doctor we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
know what I mean?
Like a doctor on the fringes.
Yeah.
He's the doctor that he's
Yeah.
the guy. He's the guy that if you get shot in a drug deal, you go to him.
You go to him.
You
Yeah.
don't go to the hospital.
Yeah.
He's gonna fix you in a dank basement
Yeah,
and send you on your way.
He's got a converted mobile home.
Yeah. He makes his own penicillin and meth.
Yeah. And gets him confused a lot.
He's a good time.
Yeah.
So he gave me these Tootsie Rolls.
Yes.
Psilocybin in them.
Ooh.
So I go down, meet up with my now fiance, and we decide that we're going to go see the Preservation Hall Jazz Band.
Oh, it's a great time.
It's a great time.
It's a great time.
So take some mushrooms.
Yeah.
Watch this like historic New Orleans
Hell yeah.
jazz band, and like,
Yeah.
and if you've been to Preservation Hall, have you been, Caitlin? Yeah, it's just that old, like untouched. You feel like you're in like the late 1800s. Your feet's on the dirt. I don't remember if I was sitting on a hay bale, but it felt that way. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like when the guys would stomp their feet, you would see the dust come up
Yeah.
in the air. You know?
Yeah.
And it was just awesome.
It's in the title, preservation. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we had taken these mushrooms. We're in there. We're watching the Preservation Hall, and they kick in, and they're a little strong for that setting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is beautiful. These guys are all really old, and like wrinkly faces are tough when you're tripping because there's a lot of lines to morph. You know.
Yeah.
So they're starting to look like. What's that painting where the guy's got his hands on his face and the head's like all
the Scream?
twisting? The Scream,
Yeah.
Scream
Yes.
painting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Ed-
They all were looking like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so my girl goes, hey, I'll be right back. And she gets up and walks out.
Wait, does she take some? of it?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're both like, they're kicking in as the show's going on. And I'm realizing, damn, these are strong.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'll be right back. And then she steps out. And I think as soon as she stepped out, I was like, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
So I watched one more song. And then I'm like, I'm going to go check on her. So I get up, I go out. She's like just looking at some storefronts. And I just clearly tripping the way she's just looking in the window longingly. So I go up to her. I'm like, "You okay?" She's like, "Yeah, it was a lot in there. It was like, and it's also really hot. It's an old building, so there's no AC.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
New Orleans, like so. I think it's New Orleans in August.
Oh.
So it was a lot.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, let's go down to Frenchman Street. People keep telling us about Frenchman Street. Let's go there. So we take a pedicab. Tripping. Also, a little side note.
You take one? I've never
While tripping.
I've never
seems-
actually taken one of those.
Oh, they're great.
I've never gotten in a pedicab.
You
Yeah.
just got the breeze on your face, you
Yeah.
know. And a little side note for context: Ferguson had just started the riots in Ferguson.
Oh, shit.
After Michael Brown's murder, and I say that to say I'm in an interracial relationship, and my fiance is black, so it was like a very heavy moment. And there's this thing, and like I was like, man, I don't even know if I have the vocabulary to talk. Like I want to talk about this I want to learn more about all of this, and I want to talk about this, but also we're like on a date. You know what I mean?
And on mushroom.
And on
mushroom
mushrooms.
chocolates.
But there's like people protesting, so it's like
Oh, yeah,
it's
shit,
in the
yeah,
air.
yeah, yeah.
You know, you have people
Yeah.
going through the street with signs and yelling.
Yeah.
So we're on this pedicab, and these people start going, "Woo, interracial love, yeah!" And we're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah.
And one woman goes, "Plaçage, plaçage." And we're like, "Plaçage, interesting." And so we start like joking around. We're like, "Ooh, my little plaçage, that's our new word. Like, you're my little plaçage, I'm a little plaçage." And we Googled it later and found out that that's like a old-timey term for when a slave owner would get a slave pregnant. And we were like, maybe we should Google,
What?
maybe we should Google things before we
Yeah,
apply
before
them to
start-
our relationship.
That's insane. So wait, it definitely was not, but the same person going interracial love and then plaçage.
Yeah, right. It was like so because we assumed because the
Because
first
that
people were
person
happy.
has like that person has like
Like really old fashioned knowledge.
yeah,
too.
it's like
Yeah.
like
That's
oh,
weird.
yeah,
well, you know, if you're racist, you love the past.
or like
That's
yeah,
true.
like
That's
bigotry,
true.
bigotry Tourette's.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like I don't mean to say this shit.
Great album
Yeah,
title.
yeah.
yeah, bigotry Tourette's.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was like a little that happened on the way, and we're like, okay, but this is the magic of New Orleans.
Yeah.
So it's tense, and we Googled Placage. We saw that. We're, oh, that sucks, you know. And then we get to Frenchman. We get out, and you know, at Frenchman, and I think it's Frenchman and Royal. There's that blue, super blue building. Like one of them's a restaurant, and one of them's not, and they're both blue. And I think it's across the street from the.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I'm trying to. Yeah.
I think it's a hot dog place.
Oh, yeah, that's Royal. That's Dat Dog.
Dat Dog.
That's
And then
what
right
it's
across from
called.
Dat Dog's another blue building that's not a restaurant.
It was called Cafe Brazil. I don't know what it's called now. But yeah.
I think it was closed at this time.
Okay.
But we get off and we're like, oh man, there's a lot of tension and we're tripping really hard. And then a second line, the minute our feet hit Frenchman, a second line starts up.
That'll save you. That'll save you.
And it was such perfect timing because it just like, everyone you could tell was feeling the tension. I think some protesters had just walked through. The second line starts, and then a massive mob of interracial, intercultural, global representation dance mob just starts. And we just start dancing like crazy.
Yeah.
And her and I were kind of, since we were tripping, we were like in the front middle, like I'm spinning her around, and we're like kind of getting the dance party really fired up.
Yeah.
Like, we're the two that are kind of amping it up a little bit.
That's
like,
awesome.
let's go. And so people are clapping, and then all of a sudden they're entering, and it just wiped away any bad feeling.
That's great.
And so we're dancing. We're like, yeah. And so we finish that. We go down Frenchman, see a couple bands play, having a great time. And we're like, hey, let's just go down to the water and like sit quietly. Like right there by, what's the cafe famous for the muffletas and the
You mean
beignets?
Cafe Du Monde?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's right by the water.
Yeah.
So we're on like the north end of Cafe Du Monde. And then there's that pier there.
You're looking behind you is the St. Louis Cathedral kind of thing?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're on the other end of the pier from the cathedral.
Oh, I know the okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like we're at dead ends basically, which is important to the story. So again, this is like very New Orleans. So we're sitting by the water, we're talking about our dreams and hopes, and like we're really getting to know each other on a deep level. And we're just like, I got my arm around her, she's like laying on my chest. We're looking out at the water, talking about what we want our lives to look like and all this stuff. And I look over and there's a guy just walking down. He looks like a zombie. And I'm not sure how much he actually looks like a zombie and how much it was the mushrooms.
Right.
But he was seriously walking, like shuffling, and he was swaying from side to side, and he was on some sort of like very heavy drug, probably meth, because
Yeah.
he had meth mouth. It was like his jaw was very active.
His body's moving in slow
His
motion.
body's
his
moving
jaw-
slowly,
yeah.
but his jaw's going nuts. And he's just like, and he's like, his chin's down, so he's looking up
Oh,
past his
so
eyebrows,
scary.
which always makes it way scarier.
Yeah.
And so I look at her and I go, okay, so finish what you're saying, and then we're going to get up, and we're going to walk away, and I want you to be on my right side and stay very close to me. And she's like, what? I go, what were you saying? She goes, oh. She finishes her sentence. I go, okay. We get up, we turn, and that guy's just walking at us, and I just put her on the outside away from him so I can like stiff arm him.
Yeah.
And we just like walk past him. He doesn't even look at us, which is almost scarier.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because, and where we were was a dead end. Like we would have
Yeah.
been cornered.
Because he's blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. He hunts by scent.
It was Pierre the whole time.
Yeah.
So we walk past him. We go to the St. Louis. Was it the Cathedral St. Louis? Is that what you said it's
St.
called?
Louis Cathedral, yeah.
And so we're looking
St.
at
Louis.
that. They got that light that shines through the Jesus statue with his arms out. And so and then you see the shadow. It's beautiful.
Man, you were definitely. This is what's really funny. You were definitely tripping because all these locations you're talking about, they're all in the same area, but you would have to like. There's a lot of walk, like you know what I'm saying. Like you guys were just moving through so fast.
Yeah. We had no sense of
Because the cathedral faces where you guys were from the river. You have to go to the Jesus statues. Yes, that's on the back side of the cathedral.
Right.
So you ventured through so much that you were probably like, wow, like your brain was just like cannot accept, you know, like street performers and fucking like people take and then Pirates Alley, and then all of a sudden like, oh, Jesus, a statue. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, we were. We really were.
Yeah.
We were like, what's this? What's that?
But you know
What's
what I'm
that?
talking about when you're tripping? It's almost like you teleport. We're just like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fully.
How did I get here again?
Yeah,
but
and
like
you-
so quick.
You usually just follow your instincts.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about it. You're just like, I want to go left.
Yeah.
I want to go right.
Yeah.
I want to go left. And so yeah, we were
Yeah.
definitely doing that. And like, and there's those art galleries all through there too. Like,
Royal Street, yeah.
so we're just like peeking
Yeah.
at those. So I bring up the Busker where that comes into play. So before all this happened, before we started tripping, we went to Coop's to have a little food.
Fantastic place.
Honestly, because of Hannibal's joke, which is a funny reason.
Oh yeah, that place. They should pay Hannibal.
Yeah.
That place has a line. I don't think entirely not because of Hannibal's joke.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think it kind of had a line before, but
It's also funny too because in the joke it's talking about a rat, but it's like
Yeah.
whatever.
it's a
We want to check it out.
it's a
Yeah.
wonderful shithole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you want. So anyway, we were in line at Coop's and this busker came up and he was like pretty clear-headed and he goes, "Can I sing you a song for a little money?" And he sings my favorite song, one of them anyway. It's like, you know, your favorite song fluctuates.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
this
yeah.
one is always in the top 5. And it was A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And he nails it. And it's again, her and I are falling in love. Like
Yeah.
we know this is happening.
Yeah.
And so there's this, and it's also, again, Ferguson, A Change Is Gonna Come.
Yep.
Like it's
Yep.
it's all together. And he sings it. I mean, we got chills, and we were just like, God. It was he hit every note. We gave him money.
Yeah.
I think he hugged us. It was just like, this is great. So now we're looking at the statue. We took a picture by it. I got to find that picture. And
Wait, what's the statue?
the
The
Jesus
St.
statue.
Louis.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it was a great selfie with us right in front of it.
Right.
And then the same busker comes by, but because it's New Orleans, now he's drunk and probably high on something.
Right.
And he's singing "A Change Is Gonna Come," but now it's really bad. Oh no! And he's flat, and you just
Yeah.
hear pain in his voice.
Oh, no.
And it completely changes the meaning of the song.
Change
Yeah.
came.
Yeah, change came. It came, and it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Got change. Does change again now. New change. More change. More change. Go back. More change.
Keep changing. Keep
Yeah,
changing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like it's really scary and off. And we were like, okay,
Yeah.
let's start going back towards the hotel. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like New Orleans after dark is different than New Orleans in the
Oh
day.
yeah.
And so we're like, all right, so we're going down, we're walking down Royal. There's a beautiful painting in a window. So we're like, all right, we'll stop and look at this. We're away from the busker, we're away from the zombie. Things are getting better. And so she's looking at this painting, and I'm sitting there. I'm probably like 4 feet behind her and over 2 feet. Like we're staggered. 'Cause
Yeah.
We're looking at different paintings. But the point is, I'm not that close to her. She's looking at the painting, and all of a sudden she just jumps and goes, and like looks, and
Yeah.
I go, what? She goes, were you not just standing right behind me? Like, did you just, like, I could just feel you right behind me. Were you not just right behind me? And I go, no, I've been over here the whole time. She goes, let's go to the hotel right now.
Oh, no.
And I go, what? She goes, I just felt someone behind me. Like, there was someone right behind me.
Oh, no.
I felt it. Let's go. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, yeah, let's just go to the hotel.
Yeah.
So we, again, Omni Royals on Royals, so we're just beeline.
Yeah.
So we get back to the hotel. We go in, we shut the door. We're like, cool. So we start making out, you know. That's what you do when you fall in love with somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
And full trip, though. And, like, from my end, it was, like, we're making out, and it like, our tongues felt like they morphed into one.
Oh yeah.
And so they're almost like, it almost felt more like, less like kissing and more like our tongues were doing like a little dance.
Yeah.
And our mouths were really just the venue in which, like, our mouths were just a tube that allowed this dance to occur.
Yeah. Dude.
And
Yeah, dude.
and like, it felt like our heads were, like, we've seen paintings since that were clearly mushroom inspired, where it's like two people whose heads are molding
Become-
together.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, that's us that night.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's our running
yeah.
joke. Anytime we see that, we're like, oh, us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just felt like we were and it felt like our brains connected. And I swear, we had a whole conversation telepathically, where
Yeah.
where we were like communicating, and like, and it was like, so like, we're gonna be together now, right? And it was like, yeah, and but no words.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing this, right? Like,
Wow. Yeah.
me and you
Yeah.
going through this life. We found our person. Wow. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Kicking indoors, Bonnie and Clyde style.
Yeah.
Fuck the world. It's you and
Yeah.
me
Hell yeah.
against the world. Let's go. And
Interracial child gonna be beautiful.
gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
Gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah.
The Irish and black people always had a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always
It was written in the stars.
unity. Yeah.
So we're making out, man, and all of a sudden, it sounded like the door to the room opened. Like, you know how you can hear a door slide over carpet, which was like.
Oh
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So I hear that, and then also, you know how you can feel when a hotel room doors open.
Yeah.
Like, you can almost feel the
room
air.
expand
a
little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
air pressure just kind of changes in the room.
Yeah.
A little air rushes out of the room
Yeah.
all of a sudden, right? So I feel that, and then I just feel something behind us. And I don't want to scare her. Because
Yeah.
again, this is like, we're a new couple. So I'm
Yeah.
like, in my head, I'm like, if you freak her out right now, she's going to think you're a psychopath. And it's going to ruin all of this.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, you're on drugs, it's probably drugs. So we just keep making out.
Yeah.
And it's whatever. So that goes on. We finish. Like, we're just like, okay, we're getting tired, whatever. So she gets up to go to the bathroom. I turn around, there's nothing there. I'm like, thank God, right? So finish that, go to bed. Next day, we're at brunch. And I was like, okay, this is going to sound crazy, but when we were making out last night, did you feel like we were like communicating? Like, on your end, were you having a conversation with me about like being in a relationship or something? And she goes, what? No. And I was like, oh no. But then she goes, but I did feel like there was someone in the room with us watching. Like, I felt like the door opened.
What?
And there was someone watching us. And I was like, ah, ah. And she's like, what? I was like, I felt that too. And she was like, yeah, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to freak you out. And I was like, that's why I didn't say anything. So
That's why we slept with the lights and the TV on.
and also why we didn't sleep at all.
Yeah. And also why we kept, why they brought up all those crucifixes.
That's why I had garlic flowing in my chest. Yeah. So that's pretty much the story. But we always joke that we have a New Orleans ghost that and it's like our witness of our love.
Or just a perv.
Or just a perv. It's just like, yeah, get it. It's just some guy who died in an ecstasy foam pit at Mardi Gras.
or some dude or some guy who died 200 years ago and was really into like voyeurism, but specifically in what was it? Passage.
Yeah, he's a passage voyeur.
Yeah, I
he's
was
a
going to say it
voyeur.
was a passage, like a slave that got pregnant by the slave master and was like, "Oh, things have changed." And that's why the song.
I'd like to hope it's that version where it was like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Look at this.
It's a celebration.
Progress has been made.
Yeah, woo!
I'm gonna go report back that we're doing all right.
I did this when I was in New Orleans. I did a joke. Like, you know when you're in a place that's not yours, and so you're like, I think this is relatable, and then you tell it, and the laugh it gets, you're like, okay, I nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very knowing laugh. So I was like, everyone talks about how haunted New Orleans is. Do you guys think that maybe it's because this entire city is an altar? You just won't let anyone pass to the other side. It's just candles and incense everywhere you go.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So it's like, so every single person that overdosed at Mardi Gras is just still walking the streets like, please let me go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here anymore.
I am very tired.
I have been wandering these streets since 2001.
I mean, it's an interesting conversation because, like, for all the things you hear about it and all the stories I've heard, even from like family members and things of that nature, I've never experienced anything like that.
Really?
I've never like my dad has stories, my brother has stories, but then again, one of my sisters does, and my other sister does not. Like I think it's like a thing of like, but then again, I also have weird issues with the dark. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can openly admit I'm in some ways afraid of the dark.
I am too.
So it's like a thing of like, I've never seen a ghost. Like, are they real? I don't know. It's all about your perception. Are you really willing to? There's 70% of the human brain we still don't understand what's stored there. But also, please, can we just like leave the lights kind of on?
Yeah.
But I do think there is like an energy because I've certainly felt that, like walking, like I've been drunk or just like out in New Orleans like 3:30 in the morning and then had to walk. Either an hour back to where I was staying by choice, just being like, I want to walk through the streets right now. I don't give a shit. I know the areas to avoid. I'll be fine. Or back to where a transit and be like, man, you definitely feel this like, there's definitely like a happy presence.
Yeah.
Or just a presence that's not angry or happy. It's just there. It's like an energy of just like years. And I think it's just like fucking a century or more of life lived.
Yeah.
It just... It creates something.
Yeah. Well, it's also specifically that city. It's like, there's a magic. There's just magic there. It just really is. It's like it was like a cultural hub before there was really that in America. It seems. Yeah. The whole. What's that place that Nicolas Cage bought and then went bankrupt? Like the Curse Building, where Madame Lalaurie.
That's
she like tortured slaves there.
Yeah, that shit's real fucked up. Yeah, that when you hear the stories of that, that's on. Right across from one of the greatest sandwich shops ever, Verde Mart. Cat Corner. Yeah, I mean, New Orleans has a dark fucking history. But also, I mean, you can't really find any glaring light with slavery at all. But it was the first city where slaves were allowed to buy freedom.
Right.
It was the first city where it was like, okay, you could you can get out of this.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, like, it's, no, there's no excuses for that. Because
Yeah.
I've heard people say it like that, where it's like, well, it was it's like, yeah, we're still,
Yeah.
you're still in some way trying to find a fucking.
Yeah, buy freedom? How
Yeah.
about you're free?
How about
You're
you're
a
just free? How about
person.
just give it
How
away?
about you were born free?
Yeah, how about
Yeah.
you were born free and now you're just giving your freedom back?
Right,
But,
right. Yeah,
But
no.
still, but it is kind of like the most.
Well, I was saying,
Yeah.
like, the thing I love, one of the things that I think that kind of encapsulates my love of New Orleans
Yeah.
is it's one of the cities where New Orleans culture doesn't know race. Like, everyone in New Orleans kind of talks the same. And it's
Oh, yeah.
and it's a mix. Like in New York, you have everyone represented, but there's different accents for different people in different places. Like
Right, right.
the stereotypical New York accents, the Italian, hey,
Yeah.
but that's only part of it. Like where I lived in Bushwick, there was a whole different like
yeah.
Latin, like Spanish Brooklyn is different,
Yeah.
and but like New Orleans is like it's all the cultures that are there combined into this one accent, and
Right.
also the food. It's all like truly combined into one. It doesn't feel like this is Haitian New Orleanian and this
Yeah.
is New Orleanian is Haitian and Vietnamese and you
Right.
know
Yeah.
everything
It's very much
mixed
a
into
melting
one.
pot.
It's a
Yeah.
gumba.
Yeah.
Gumba.
Yeah.
It's a jambalaya.
Jambalaya, gumbolaya, etouffee.
It's
Yeah,
also,
it is, yeah.
where we fell in love.
Yeah,
Was also in New Orleans.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no ghosts.
And you met at my show in Chicago, which is my favorite thing in the
Yeah.
world.
Did meet at your show in
Yeah.
Chicago?
Did you spill a
yeah?
beer on her? Wasn't that what
Vice
I
versa.
spilled a beer.
Vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah.
Hey, it was
Yeah.
fate.
Yeah.
That was your love ghost.
Yeah, right?
Your love ghost just
was that Cupid
nudged that
person.
beer.
Yeah.
Her love ghost actually was in Chicago, made her sleep in too late and miss her flight. So we
Right.
arrived in New Orleans at the same time
That's
because we were both flying in from different cities.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, that's a good way to put it. There is a sort of like, the South, anywhere in the South still has its scars and its darkness. But like New Orleans, what I fucking love and adore is that you're right. Like you nailed it when you said it. Like it has this sort of like there's this deep seed of we don't see race, we don't see gender, we don't see any of this shit. We see just people and just like revelry and like the celebration of life. And then you get a layer outside of it, and then people start tacking on their bullshit, and you get 30 miles outside that city, 40 miles outside that city, it starts to get real fucking nasty.
Yeah.
But the city itself does have at its core, it's gold. It's
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I do love that. It's a magnolia tree.
It comes full circle.
Yeah. Damn. Kenny, where are we gonna find you?
At Kenny DeForest on all social media. And actually, Caitlin is about to build me a new website because she's real good at
She
it.
damn good at it.
The one I have now, it'll still be kennydeforest.com, but if you go to it like right now, it's not going to be nearly as good as it's about to be in 2 to 3 weeks.
What's the album you dropped not that long ago called?
Bad Dreams.
Bad Dreams.
And a joke version of the story I told is on there, but this was more
Oh,
fleshed out,
okay, cool.
which I like better.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to flesh it out, and because it's different. It's different to tell a joke than it is to tell a story.
Yeah, I
especially
agree.
when you're trying to word economy and where am I going to fit this here?
Yeah.
When you're thinking about
This is a
jokes per
story that
minute.
deserves the whole.
Yeah, you need to see the spectrum.
Yeah.
Of the love spectrum.
Yeah.
The story spectrum.
Yeah.
But that was a cool story. But I highly beyond highly recommend Kenny. Go see him live. He's out there in LA for now. On the road. See his website, get the album. And if you and afterwards, like, hey man, wanna go do some deforestation?
Yeah, I'm always down for that, baby.
Burn some trees, but not magnolias. All right, love you all.
Goodbye.
Later.
Weeping willow, dry your eyes. Actually keep crying, cause you look even sadder in the winter time. Weeping willow, you don't give a shit. I wish you would care, cause you look even sadder when you get over it.